Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, we have been studying the Avijja Ahara Sutta, and so far we have studied the nutriment for ignorance, that is, the 5 hindrances. Then the nutriment for the 5 hindrances, that is, the 3 kinds of misconduct. Then the nutriment for misconduct, that is, lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension. The nutriment for lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension is careless attention. So today I think we will finish this sutta because there are 4 factors that we have to do. They are not so vast as the others that we have done so far. So I think we can finish this sutta today. So the nutriment for lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension is careless attention. If we take an ordinary example, while crossing the road, if one did not pay enough attention to the moving vehicles, one would meet with an accident, which may even cost one's life. In the spiritual sense, unwise or careless attention is taking impermanent things to be permanent, painful things to be pleasurable, what is not self as self, and what is foul as beautiful. These are called vipallasa in Pali or perversions in English. Through unwise attention, lust, hate, and delusion may arise. Lust arises by being charmed and attracted by what is considered as a beautiful thing. This is why the monk or the nun or the practitioner is advised or reminded when seeing, smelling, tasting, and feeling, she or he should not grasp any sign or detail of the sense object. You know, the sense is the eye, ear, nose, tongue, etc. You know, our senses. The object is, for each sense, there is an object, like the eye, a form, the tongue, a taste, like that, right? So, not to grasp those objects. The word sign is understood to mean the most distinctive qualities, which if grasped unwisely, would lead to defiled thought and greed or aversion. If it's a person, a smile, word, kindness or compassion that is shown, or the looks or features may be called sign. Unwise attention may lead to mental proliferation or freely and rapidly arising thoughts and becoming overpowered by them, one may lose all sense of the present moment reality. so that one is disturbed. Careless attention is not the right method for gaining welfare and happiness. It is called unmethodical attention or off-track attention. That is in Pali, ayoniso manasikara. Attention or manasikara is the very first stage of the mind coming in contact with its object, whatever the object, right? This is absolutely necessary for cognition or knowing and is present in all states of consciousness. So, if you want to see, manasikara is also there, right? If you want to taste, manasikara is there. So, like that, for everything, manasikara is necessary. Yoniso. Now, I told you about ayoniso. Yoniso means the beginning, origin, or root. So, yoniso manasikara, the opposite of ayoniso, means directing the attention to the root of things. That is, observing phenomena, whatever the phenomena, whether it's something to eat, or whether it's something to see, or whether it's something to touch, or whatever, all phenomena as they truly are. That is how impermanent, unsatisfactory, and non-self. That's why yoniso manasikara is termed wise attention. The Buddha says, I do not see a single other thing that conduces to the confusion and destruction of the true Dhamma except for lack of full awareness. This is equal to careless attention. A wandering mind can produce all the 5 hindrances. Ordinary people are generally inclined toward sense objects that arouse mental defilements. As soon as the object appears at one of the 6 sense doors, the 6 sense doors are also the sense faculties, right? The consciousness arises based on unwise attention, right? Because it's just a few people who will look at things with wise attention, thinking this is impermanent, this is unsatisfactory, this is non-self. Very few will think like that. They will see a person, they will see a dish of very nice food, or whatever it is. So they will look with unwise attention, and you see, the consciousness arises, and the consciousness will arise based on unwise attention, and it wonders whether the object is lovely or terrible. This kind of focus is similar to someone who is afraid of ghosts and jumps at any noise in the night. The process that takes place at the sense doors is like this. Now, this is what happens at the sense doors, right? Every sense door, this kind of thing happens. What happens? The consciousness focuses attention and receives and investigates the information, whatever the information, whether you are seeing or tasting or whatever the information, the consciousness focuses attention there, and it receives and then investigates. Then determines or decides whether the object is lovely or terrible. This is how karmic impulses arise based on greed, hatred, and delusion. This is how unwholesome states arise due to unwise attention. Thinking that the mental and physical objects that come to the sixth sense doors as permanent, satisfactory, and pleasurable is unwise attention. We also create karma, good or bad, depending on our attitude to the object. Further, our sense of I, my, and myself gets solidified by thinking that everything exists. Every moving body is a person, and thus create, this is the idea that you get, that every body that moves is a person. And the I, my, and myself as against you and yourself, right, is created. This is the origin of the karmic circle. A recent incident that has resulted in a great deal of destruction is a ship carrying a load of poisonous material and polythene, etc., that had entered the sea around Sri Lanka. While at sea, the ship had suddenly caught fire, but due to unwise attention, it spread to the entire ship, and ultimately the sea and the land around it was entirely polluted, causing much harm and damage to all the living beings in the sea and to the Sri Lankan people. If those responsible had paid careful attention, yoniso manasikara, it could have been avoided. Now, that is about careless attention. Now we turn to the next one. Now let us turn to lack of faith or saddha, which is the nutriment for careless attention. Careless attention is due to the feeding of lack of faith, because there is no faith, lack of faith, it results in careless attention. Can you see that? So even for this ship, it is the same thing that happened. This is the inability to develop faith in the teacher, the Buddha, and the teachings, and being unable to develop energy or on the spiritual path. Such an individual cannot appreciate and rejoice in the characteristics of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and will try to see loopholes in their characters. This means that one is unable to have right view or to understand the main aspects like karma, rebirth, etc. This is part of the teaching. Not knowing and understanding the teaching, one may be careless and lax about keeping the precepts or observing good karma like generosity, kindness, compassion, charity, and morality. Because one does not understand and does not know the teaching. So, good karma is not created. A faithless person will not know the difference between good and bad deeds, and living loosely will commit many unwholesome acts. Such a one may be remorseful later, but having accumulated negative karma after death may get a low rebirth. Lacking faith, one's mind may not be joyful and serene, nor will there be energy that will produce self-confidence. Buddha declares that one without faith is a bad person, normally shameless and unwise. The inferior person lacks faith and encourages others to be faithless. That is even worse than one being faithless, to encourage other people also to not to have faith. When immoral and faithless, one becomes timid, without self-confidence, is lazy and unwise. The Buddha says that a talk on faith should not be addressed to one without faith, because she or he would lose her or his temper, become irritated, hostile, stubborn, and show bitterness, for she or he does not perceive that faith, that particular faith in herself or himself, because he or she does not have faith. He or she does not like to listen to a talk on faith. So Buddha said, don't talk to such people about faith. One who has faith or saddha has unwavering confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, is of virtuous behavior and has right view. She or he will be self-confident, virtuous, learned, energetic, and wise. Faith is of two kinds. One, amulika saddha, that is rootless faith, baseless or irrational, blind faith. Second, akaravati saddha, that is faith with a good cause, that is by seeing and understanding the Dhamma. Another kind of faith is known as avijja pasada, that is unshakable faith, which is usually associated with the Aryans. You know, even a person who is a Sotapanna has entered the Aryan stage. So from there on, that person will never lose saddha. According to the Chanki Sutta, that is in the Majjhima Nikaya, faith is the first of the 12 stages of truth discovery. One meaning of saddha or faith is that it is a knowing within oneself that you are practicing correctly, and it will help to solve your problems, not only the spiritual problems, but also mundane problems, right? Faith will help the meditator to see the rise and fall of phenomena. That means the 5 aggregates, right? The rise and fall. Now even the breath, you will see, has rise and fall. So a person who will be meditating with faith will see this. And this may make that one to gain confidence in the Buddha and the Dhamma. When our practice deepens, experience teaches us that we are seeing the truth. Because we can see it for ourselves. We can experience it. Not like in other religions where you have to die and go to the God to see whether it is correct. We can see it here itself. Then the teachings become a way of life. To make room for faith to blossom, one must admit one's ignorance and be open to a new way of thinking and seeing. But it will be a subjective experience. That means it will be something that is in the mind, right? It's from the mind that you can know all this. Sometimes Saddha or faith can mean trust, inspiration, where our mind become totally inspired to continue in our striving, because we can see that we could attain to higher states of spirituality. Now, if you meditate very well and get concentrated, you could attain the jhanas, right? This word can also mean confidence in the Dhamma and ourselves, so that even if the 5 hindrances create problems in our practice, we may continue with determination and willpower due to our faith. So, when we start meditating, or even otherwise, hindrances come. Even in ordinary life, hindrances come. So, when hindrances come, we strive on because we know and we have faith in the power of the Dhamma, right? So we can use that willpower to strive and determine to go forward, not to lose faith. A factor that is equally important is patience, to have less expectations so that one is not disappointed and give up. Because you see, lots of people, even those who come here sometimes, want results very soon, right? So you can't get results like that. We have meditated for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, like that, people have meditated. But still they have not come to attain anything. Even those days, that was there, even during the Buddha's time. So we can't expect anything, but we can still strive on, hoping that one day our striving will bring us the result that we wanted. Like the Bodhisattva, now Bodhisattva, that is Siddhartha, we too should have courage to drop some of our old beliefs, past experiences, etc., and allow the truth to be revealed in us. You remember when Siddhartha, after 6 years of asceticism, mortifying the flesh, could not gain anything. He just dropped that and then went, on his way alone and tried on his own and gained what he wanted. So you see, it is like that we too, when you fail something, you must not be disappointed. You must try something else, right? So faith or Saddha gives us the energy and willingness to continue with our practice, even if no result is seen immediately. Ultimately, when we do see results, we gain confidence in that teaching. For faith to be effective, it has to be balanced with wisdom. Faith and wisdom have to go together. If you have no wisdom but only faith, it's a little bit difficult to proceed. And if you have only wisdom and no faith, that is also difficult. So you must have both, and they must be balanced. Now, the next one is this. Not hearing the good Dhamma is the nutriment for the lack of Saddha or faith. You see, faith, lots of people have not heard the Dhamma properly. That is why they have no faith, right? So according to the suttas, right view arises in 2 ways. That is, through the voice of another. That is called parato gosa. Through the voice of another, that is by listening to somebody else. Even if you are listening to a video, that means that is the voice of another. And wise attention. Now, when you are listening to something, you must not do other things, While you are cutting vegetables, if you are listening to the Dhamma, you won't get much, from the Dhamma. You might cut the vegetables and finish, but not the Dhamma, right? So therefore, you must listen carefully, and that is called wise attention or yoniso manasikara. According to the Majjhima Nikaya commentary, another's voice is listening to the helpful and desirable Dhamma with wise attention. The commentary to the Vitakka Santana Sutta, that is also in the Majjhima Nikaya, says, for the removal of thoughts connected with delusion, we should build up the 5 Dhamma supports. Now, what are the 5 Dhamma supports? That is, guidance of a teacher, intent on learning the Dhamma, investigation of the doctrine that you have learned. Now, when I tell you these things, don't take them just because I told you. Find out more for yourself, and also read and, investigate, find out. So that is what it means, right? Investigation. Then listening to the Dhamma at the proper time. Inquiry into what are and what are not the Dhamma. The Mangala Sutta says, Kalena Dhamma Sakaccha. That means discussing the Dhamma at the right time. Kalena Dhamma Savanang. Hearing the Dhamma at the right time. The Mangala Sutta gives this, right? So, these are what blessings. When one listens carefully, one's heart and mind opens, and one would draw near to the teacher, whether it is the Buddha or any other disciple of the Buddha. When our minds are receptive, you see, if they are blocked, you won't get much from the listening. So if they are receptive, if your mind is receptive and willing to learn by seeing or listening or inspired by a person's qualities of love, wisdom or kindness, we will be able to find a better and happier way to live. Now that is about the listening, right? Listening to the good Dhamma. The last factor is not associating with good persons, right? Now, you know that in one sutta, in the Samyutta Nikaya, I think, the Buddha says, that is, Venerable Ananda goes to the Buddha and says, Bhante, I think this sasana depends on half the sasana, he said. Half the sasana depends on good friends. Buddha said, no, the Ananda, don't say that. The whole sasana depends on good friends, noble friends. So, a good person is a sappurisa. There is a sutta called the Sappurisa Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. So, it's a sappurisa who does not regard his family, property, status, or ascetic practice as a measure of his spiritual attainment. Now, there are certain people who think that if they are meditating, if they observe the 8 precepts on Poya days, or whatever they do, they think, that is a way of, that they are better than others and they have more merit than other people. It's not like that. We must not compare ourselves with others in that way. So, for none of these things will destroy the 3 unwholesome roots. All those things that I talked about now will not remove greed, hatred, and delusion. These are the 3 unwholesome roots. If she or he is a true practitioner, she or he will not praise oneself, nor belittle others on account of family, property, etc., etc., right? Or even your own, goodness. You should not look down on other people thinking they are not as good as I am. So, a Sappurisa will greatly benefit both oneself and others. A true lay individual arises for the good of all beings, the family, society, religion, and even the gods, like a rain cloud that rains on and benefits all kinds of plants and living beings. See the Buddha's simile. A true individual is one who inspires us in our spiritual development. The word Kalyana Mitra, noble friend, refers to a caring teacher and friend who is capable of helping us in our meditation practice. Or not only meditation practice, even in daily life, a good friend will always help. In the, what is that Sutta? I forget the name of the Sutta, but I think all of you know that, where the Buddha gives instructions to a certain Manavaka, or a young fellow who was, bending down to the 6 directions. The Buddha said, gave different ideas about the 6 directions, which is not the physical directions, but like mother, father, teacher, friend, employer, employee, like that, he gave different values to the 6 directions. So, and also you find in the same sutta how what kind of a friend should be. There are certain friends who are friendly only to gain something, but not actually to do something for you if you want or if you are in need. So therefore, you must be very careful about who your friends are, right? So there are such friends, good friends among ordinary individuals too. Those who give their time, support, assistance, and other gifts without being asked. There are certain people even here in Greenville that I know who gives their, time and support to other people who are not even their relatives, So now I have a certain example. A certain person I know had a photograph of an old man who was not even a relative, but she wanted to restore it to the proper owner. And after some research, she had to do a lot of research to find out who this person was and if whether he had any relatives left, and found a great grandchild of the man in the picture. And you know what she did? She went with it to that house, where she had never gone before, to give it. So now they are good friends, though from different nationalities. She has made many friends through her generosity and compassion. So you see, there are lots of people like that. I just took one example, but there are many, many people among us, ordinary people, lay people, not necessary to be monastics, who are so generous and good and are noble friends to others. To have noble friends, one must be a noble friend to others, right? So the story of the Buddha and his Aryan disciples is full of charitable and kindly acts that took them all over the Gangetic Valley, but all their traveling was a Padayatra because they were walking. Associating with good persons results in hearing the good Dhamma, which generates faith so that one would give careful attention and practice mindfulness and clear comprehension. Then one would restrain the senses, which would lead to good conduct. This helps to follow the path and finally gain true knowledge and liberation. Thank you. So, do you have any questions? No question? Okay. If you have no questions, then we'll do a little bit of meditation, shall we? So please sit down well so that you don't have to move. And today also I thought we could do the breath meditation, which I think all of you like to do. So we can take more characteristics of the breath meditation to deal today along with what we have already done, so that you can focus attention on the breath completely. So please take a few deep breaths. Right, now you are ready, I think. So, look at the breath. The breath is just one of the elements. The air element. You find the breath going in and out, that is the air around us goes into the body and then it comes out. So focus your attention on the breath where it touches your nostrils, upper lip, or somewhere around there. Notice it going in. Then coming out. Between these two, that is the in and the out, there is a very, very little pause. See whether you can locate it. Your breath is not always the same. When you start, it might be long or short. See how it is. See the length, strength, the way you feel this breath, whether it is long or short. Has it changed after a little while? See, if it was long, it might have become shorter. Or if it was short, sometimes it becomes longer. It changes. That is why we say everything is in flux. Everything changes, even the breath. When it goes in, when the air goes in, we say rising. And when it comes out, we say falling. Rising and falling. Rising and falling. Your body is very calm, quiet, and sort of silent and still. So see if the breath is also the same. After some time, the breath may be so calm and so still like. See whether you can feel that it is also, the Buddha says, a body in the body. as if it's going in and out like a body. You feel it as if it's, now it is not solid, but you feel as if it's something, that you can really feel going in and out, in and out. And the rising and the falling as it goes in, rising, as it comes out, falling. And relaxed, are you? Is your body relaxed? Then the breath also will be relaxed. If thoughts come, let it come and go. Don't harbor it. Don't focus on it. Just, oh, that's okay. Let it come and go. As your heart become lighter, the mind become lighter, leaving all the burdens aside. Okay, friends, then slowly open your eyes. See if you have become a little more calm than before, happier than before. So even now, if you have any questions, please ask. In that case, by the way, I want to tell you that I have to go to another monastery for a week. So therefore, I may not be able to have the next Sutta discussion 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, perhaps. Anyway, so we will let you know what we have decided to do. So please remember that if you don't get it, that means that it won't be next the 2 weeks later. It might be after that. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much. Teruvan Saranai Maniani.
Thank you for all coming and joining.
Thank you, Ayya Sudina.
Good to see you.
You
Thank
too.
you. So next Sutta discussion might be not in 2 weeks or maybe in 3 weeks perhaps. So anyway, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay. So then it will be another new sutta because we have come to the end of this sutta. Yeah. So I hope you have got some kind of idea about dependent origination, because this is part of the dependent origination formula, right? What we have been discussing. So that's why I chose that and did this. So anyway, right then.
Okay, the meditation was helpful.
I'm glad.
Relaxing and helped you to calm and focus.
You must do it more, for a longer time. But since we don't have time, I just do it quickly so that you will know how to get on with it with more, in a more relaxed way for a longer time. It's
Good.
only then that you can really, experience the breath and calming down and even get concentrated, right? So that you can go into jhana. I hope all of you will try it, right? Okay then. Tunruan Saranai, may all of you be well, happy and peaceful.